Yeah. Peter, tell me about why is the stock market still up? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the Fed is printing a tremendous amount of money. The Fed is also actually buying corporate bonds, which is underwriting the cost of corporations of going into debt, and is also reducing the risk of those companies because, you're taking a lot of bankruptcy risk off the table because the Fed is basically saying, we're not going to let these companies go bankrupt no matter how poorly they're run, no matter how much debt they have. And so, you've got the Powell put, which is certainly bigger than the Bernanke put or the Greenspan put. So if you have this floor beneath the market, well, obviously the market is going to go up because it's not earnings that are driving the market. Earnings are falling. Everything has gone wrong for the market. The only thing that's gone right is the Fed. So this market is 100% a byproduct of Fed cheap money. But ultimately, it's going to be real things that are going to go up in price more than stocks, right? You're going to see a bigger increase at the supermarket for the cost of food than you're going to see in the stock market for the prices of stocks. I think the stocks that are going to benefit the most from this Powell put are going to be the gold stocks, because in order to put a floor beneath the stock market, they have to knock the floor out from under the dollar. They have to sacrifice the dollar to save the market and to maintain the bubble. And by sacrificing the dollar, you're going to dramatically increase the earnings for these gold mining companies, and you're going to increase the need for a hedge against inflation, which is the gold that these companies have in the ground and that they're mining and selling. So if people really understood this, it's the gold stocks that they would be buying, not the tech stocks.
Okay. Is Trump going to get reelected?
Well, I've been thinking that he wasn't going to be reelected, and I still think that the odds are that he will not be. But it's not a sure thing. I mean, I think Trump does have a chance of getting reelected. I think he has a good chance, but I think it's less than 50-50. Maybe it's 40-60 that he gets reelected. I think the wild card is twofold. One is maybe the voters will blame the recession on COVID-19 rather than Trump, which normally, if the economy is in bad shape, the incumbent gets blamed. But if it's perceived that it's not their fault, maybe if Trump can blame it on China, then, that may help. And of course, we're going to get some kind of rebound in the third quarter, the beginning of what will look like a V. And so maybe those improving numbers that we get going into the election could be helpful, right? I think we're going to roll over in the fourth quarter, but we won't see those numbers until after the election. And the other thing that Trump's got going, other than being the incumbent and having a lot of money to spend, he has a lot more money to spend now than he had last time. But Biden is just a really bad candidate. I mean, so it's the Democrats could have had a much stronger candidate than the one that they chose. So Biden being up there is a positive for Trump. But again, I think the reason I think Trump loses is because we will be in a recession. The economy is not going to be better than it was when he was elected. I think there are a lot of states that he barely won, right, that put him over the top in the Electoral College. I mean, he lost the popular vote last time, and he's going to lose the popular vote again. So the key is going to be the Electoral College. And the states that he won, he barely won. It wasn't like it was a slaughter. I mean, he squeaked by with narrow margins of victory in these swing states. Will he be able to do that again? I think when he ran in 2016, he was more of an aspirational unknown quantity. He was promising a lot of good stuff, and I think people were willing to take a shot. I think a lot of Democrats who went through 8 years of Obama and they hoped that they'd have change and they didn't get anything, right? It was more of the same. I think there were some disgruntled Democrats and independents who liked Trump's message that he was a game changer, that he was going to drain the swamp, that he was going to make America great again. So I think people were willing to take a shot on that because they already knew what they would get if they voted for Clinton, and that was going to be more of the same. And I think, again, Clinton was a bad candidate, just like Biden is a bad candidate. I think Clinton was worse. She was even more polarizing, I think, than Biden. But so Trump won. But I think now a lot of people 4 years later are going to see that, wait a minute, nothing has changed. My life is not better because Trump is president. I'm not earning more. I don't have less debt. The economy isn't better. And when Trump was running, he said, look, all the numbers are phony. Don't believe the government numbers. The unemployment number is phony. The GDP number is phony. The inflation numbers are phony. Now Trump is saying the economy is great. Look at the numbers, or at least look what the numbers were before COVID. I had the lowest unemployment. Yes, but it was the same phony numbers that you were criticizing when Obama was president. So I think a lot of those people are not going to vote for him again. I think now they might actually try socialism, because now, the Democrats have really upped the ante when it comes to free stuff, because Trump is basically a Democrat. I mean, and so are the Republicans. They're promising all sorts of free stuff. But I think if the election comes down to who could promise the most free stuff, I think it's hard for the Republicans to outbid the Democrats in an auction of free stuff. I mean, basically, the public is going to have the choice between two Democrats. Well, if you have to pick between two Democrats, you might as well take the real one instead of the fake one, right? So that's where I think the edge goes to Biden.